I, 48 male, have a daughter, Lisa, teen, from my first marriage. I'm not on particularly good terms with her mother. We divorced 8 years ago, and Lisa, unfortunately, became an outlet for her resentment toward me, which ended up souring our relationship massively. Lisa is a good person, but, sadly, she takes after her mom in terms of demeanor and often acts rude and entitled. A few years ago, I married again. Lisa decided not to attend my wedding, and she said a bunch of hurtful things to my then fiancée, Rosemary, 38 female. Since then, our relationship got even worse. When Rosemary and I welcomed our son a little while ago, Lisa texted me that since I have my perfect baby now, I could stop pestering her and trying to play family with her. It hurt me deeply, and I ended up distancing myself from her, though I kept sending a $100 a month to her allowance. Recently, we had an unplanned addition to our family. Long story short, Rosemary's sister, who wasn't a good parent to start with, terminated her custody rights over her son Blake, nearly adult male. Rosemary and I decided to take Blake in. Unfortunately, a few years ago, Blake got in a horrible car wreck that left him permanently disabled. Luckily, he can walk someone, doesn't need 247 assistants around the house, but that's about it. Blake is a fantastic person who quickly became part of our family. I decided to give the $100 allowance to Blake instead. He was beyond happy and grateful. I also made a hard decision and gave him my car. It's a 22 Cadillac Escalade, and I was planning on getting rid of it this year anyway, since Lisa is turning mid-teen in a month, and I wanted to gift it to Lisa. Now it's Blake's car, and he absolutely loves it. He really needed a car because his mobility issues don't get him around easily anymore, and it changed his life massively. Of course, Lisa didn't like it. When she realized that she wasn't getting any allowance, she called me and asked what was wrong. It was the first call I received from her in a year, if not more. I explained that now when my family expanded, I didn't have enough money. I'll still be sending her mom the child support payments as per the court agreement, but she shouldn't expect anything extra. She asked me about the car since she knew about my plans to give her a car. I told her that now the situation changed and I could no longer give her a car. I'll admit what I said next was probably idiotic of me, since I told her that now I have 2 children to play family with and asked her to stop pestering me. This caused her to blow up completely, to the point she got her mom to call me and scream at me, and so did her new husband. They threatened to sue me. Lisa said she got no contact and so on. I just brushed off the threats, especially since Rosemary is a lawyer. I made my peace with poor contact with Lisa years ago. They also managed to write a few mean things to Rosemary and Blake, which got me wondering whether I was an idiot here. You are the idiot. You're the adult, and you haven't acted like it for her entire life. She was, what, a young grammar schooler when you divorced. She takes after her mom, aka, I did absolutely no parenting, and I'm shocked she acts like the parent who actually raised her. You distanced yourself because a child said something mean. OMG, seriously. Will you do the same when your son does the same? Because guess what? No teen has an absolutely positive relationship with their parents. More than likely, your kid will say, 1. They hate you. 2. You're ruining their life. 3. They didn't choose to be born or something similar. So you're just gonna dip when he gets to that stage. My 4-year-old told me he hated me for the first time earlier this year when I made him wash his hands after he went to the toilet. Should I kick him out? He doesn't contribute to the bills or anything either. If every parent ditched their kid when they said something mean, self-centered, or rude, this would be a world of orphans, especially kids whose parents are going through a divorce. Also, can we just note that he says he doesn't have enough money, but can afford to give away a 2022 luxury car and presumably replace it with another that costs even more. Like, dude, sell the caddy and buy nice used cars for both of them, or even economy new cars. He's lying. His daughter knows he's a liar. He's not even a good liar. Whose fault was the accident that Blake was in? Oh, that's not actually important. I just wanna know if you have a kid who got into a terrible accident speeding around doing dumb teenager things in a practically brand new $80,000 car. Wow. Yeah. You are the idiot, but you deserve it to be spelled out. You're the idiot. My husband and I have a preschool-age daughter. Ellie. Ellie has a best friend, Andrew, the same age from her daycare. She asked him to marry her at least once a week, and they ended up getting married at daycare a few weeks ago. Andrew even made her a little ring. Teachers sent pics of their little wedding. It was adorable. We had Andrew over for a play date on Saturday. This was the first time Andrew's been to our house. The second Andrew saw our dog, he completely ignored Ellie for the rest of the play date. He only wanted to play and cuddle with the dog. Ellie was heartbroken and told Andrew they weren't married anymore. They were both pretty upset, so we ended the play date a little early. Now for the past 2 days, whenever Andrew tries to play with Ellie or even talk to her, she says, "You're not my boyfriend anymore," and walks away. This upset Andrew, so her teachers asked us to talk to her about being nicer to Andrew, and reminded that they were best friends. I told her she doesn't have to play with Andrew. She doesn't want to, but she has to use kind words, and she should tell him that he hurt her feelings when he came over. My husband thinks I handled it wrong, and that we should tell her to play with Andrew again and get over the play date. I think she'll get over it eventually, but I don't want to force her to play with anyone. And if she doesn't want to be pretend married anymore, she doesn't have to be married to him. We just can't seem to agree on whether we should tell her to play with him or let her get over it on her own. Am I the idiot for letting her divorce Andrew and not making her play with him? Your preschooler broke up with him better than some adults manage. He had an emotional affair with her dog. There's no coming back from that. Definitely, don't force her to play with someone she doesn't want to. It's important that children understand they can set their own boundaries. Maybe she was a little young to be getting married. My daughter waited until she was 8. So that meant her friend had to draw up official divorce papers when they split. In all seriousness, as a society, we need to stop forcing little girls to cuddle their boy peers. He hurt her feelings. She has every right to draw boundaries. End of story. She doesn't need to be nicer. She has expressed her feelings. Adults shouldn't be telling her, "Well, maybe you feel hurt, but it doesn't matter because you were best friends." Forcing little girls to play with little boys tells them that they must make the boys, and later men, happy, and that their feelings and desires do not matter. Tell it to your husband like this. My parents took out credit cards and loans in my name. It was fine when they were paying the bills, but they got behind. I don't have a key to the mailbox, so I never saw the bills or anything. I just finished my 3rd year of university, and I was going to move out. That would require me to get a credit check. My parents freaked out and forbid me from moving out. They said it was stupid to waste money on moving out when I could save money living at home. They don't like my boyfriend, so I thought that was their issue, but not was I wrong. Long story short, I'm about $60,000 in debt because of them. I cannot afford to pay that off. I told them they needed to clear the debt immediately and change the house rules so that my boyfriend could spend the night. They said they didn't have the money to pay the debt, and that I couldn't strong-arm them into changing the rules of their house. I called my auntie and asked her if I could please come stay with her for a bit. She let me come and asked a lot of questions. Then she showed me a dozen stories about parents storing up their kids' future and kids allowing it. I went to the police and reported it. My parents got arrested and charged. They're furious with me. I know they didn't spend the money on me. I don't know what they did spend it on. I don't care. I feel bad for them, but I'm not letting them mess up my future. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. It was fine when they were paying the bills. No, it wasn't. It's identity fraud and illegal. Put a freeze on your credit and monitor your reports from now on. Tell them you're furious with them as well. They have no right to be angry with you. They committed fraud and then tried to stop you from finding out. They've damaged your future job prospects, so you had to do something to repair it. Going to the police is the first step. They are disgusting. They should be apologizing and begging for your forgiveness. I'm glad your aunt is on your side. Unfortunately, the type of parent willing to commit identity fraud to get more credit cards has a strong correlation with narcissistic and abusive parents who will con or pressure their kids into shouldering the credit card debt they caused is too damn high. The American debt industry is extremely predatory and happy to take advantage of America's notoriously poor financial literacy. Prosecute them to the fullest extent possible. Your parents are supposed to care for you and protect you, not screw you over and do illegal crap on you. My sister, Teresa, has a teen daughter, Quinn. Quinn and I used to be very close when she was younger and loved having auntie-niece time together. However, since becoming a teenager, Quinn has become snarky in a mean way. I particularly don't like how she behaves towards my daughter, Bella, a young grammar schooler. Quinn crosses the line. A particular episode of verbal cruelty at a birthday party was when I'd had enough and told Quinn, "I don't want you to come over until you can start being nice to Bella." Teresa was present when I said this. We live a short walk away from each other. A few days ago, Quinn arrived and wanted dinner, and I turned her away at the door and told her, "I don't like how you treat my daughter. Unless it's an emergency, you are not welcome over." Teresa called me because she said I was horrible for turning Quinn away. She's a teen, and my niece was upset. Teresa has stopped trying to do anything serious about Quinn's verbal attitude and has justified it in the past with statements along the lines of, "That's just how some teenagers are. It's a teen thing. Teenagers shouldn't be treated like young children, or Quinn's almost an adult. It's not your place to parent her like some child." I brought up Teresa's passwords and told her she was correct that Quinn is an adult who doesn't need to be scolded by me, and I have a right to protect my child from an unkind adult. Quinn is already having issues with the school emailing home or friends making excuses for not wanting to see her, and it's time for Teresa to wake up and do something about her daughter. Teresa and I have given our sides to mutual friends and acquaintances who are divided. Some say Quinn's attitude is not okay, but I was wrong to turn her away at the door because she's still a teen and my niece. They said being a teenager and rapidly going from childhood to adulthood is already a rough transition. According to Teresa, Quinn appears to be having issues at school, and I should try to have more patience with her and see what may be happening outside of her. Regardless of the reason, I feel I had to set a hard boundary with Quinn's behavior. It isn't an easy time, but at 16, you still know right from wrong, and Bella doesn't deserve to be subjected to that kind of treatment. But all my friends and acquaintances correct that I was too hard on my niece and sister and should apologize for how I responded to them, not the idiot. Your responsibility is to protect your daughter. I'm rolling my eyes at your friend group being divided and saying it's so hard to be a teenager. Basic manners should still be expected. You clearly warned her the last time. Surprise, actions have consequences. Your sister is taking the lazy way out by letting Quinn get away with her treatment of your daughter. You are the idiot. Have you tried getting Quinn to open up to see what's going on? I get you want to protect your daughter, and your daughter shouldn't be bullied by anyone in her own home. But if you care about your niece, you could be in a good position to help her. She's obviously as attached to you or she wouldn't wanna come over. Teens will rebel against anything that looks like parental authority, but they can respond very well to a cool aunt who has a heart-to-heart. A simple, "I love you and want you here, but I can't have you being mean to my daughter. It's my job to protect her and I will," can go a long way. My sister and her 2 kids moved in with us after she was facing homelessness after being evicted from her place. She's become very clingy with me. I must repeatedly tell her my wife and I are not watching your kids. We gave you a place to stay. We must constantly remind her to clean up after her and her children and not let her kids destroy things. She has been envious if my wife and I go out, and has made comments that it must be nice if my wife buys new clothes or something designer. She has been repeatedly talked to about this and told to stop. Last night, my wife and I went on a date night to go out and see a live show and get sushi. My sister was waiting up for us close to 1 a.m. and yelled at us about how we didn't bring her kid something. How it's so mean that we flaunt our lifestyle while her kids are struggling, and the least we could do is bring her and her kids home something. It's 1 a.m. Her kids aren't even awake. My sister said she deserves a little treat from time to time, and more say around the home. My wife flips on her and tells my sister she needs to move out ASAP. She doesn't want her toxic butt in her home anymore, and if she's not out in 30 days, she'll be getting the courts and child services involved to remove them from the home. And my wife told my sister how she's a mentally unstable, unfit mother. My sister acted like I would protect her, and she called my wife a witch and said I wouldn't let that happen. I told my sister my wife could do as she wanted and that it was her home too. My sister is the one who made herself unwelcome. My sister didn't apologize, but made us breakfast this morning, and my wife threw the plate of food away and told my sister 29 days. My wife left to go speak to one of her cousins who's a lawyer this morning. My sister acted all innocent in front of her kids, who could tell their aunt's attitude was off. My sister tried apologizing to me after my wife left, and I told her it was probably too late, because my wife was getting the official paperwork now. Deserved treats. For what? Being a leech? Does she even have a job and pay you rent or utilities, etc., or offer to cook and clean, do chores around the house, etc.? Doesn't sound like it, as she has to constantly be reminded to clean up after herself and the kids. Sounds like she lounges around expecting to be waited on like a queen while ignoring her kids destroying the house. Where are their fathers? Shouldn't they also be caring for them and paying child support? I completely understand your wife snapping and evicting her. Not the idiot. Your sister's actions have created a toxic environment in your home, and it's valid that your wife wants her gone. Your wife has every right to set boundaries and feel safe and respected in her own home. Your sister's behavior has been consistently ungrateful, disrespectful, and manipulative. I wouldn't be surprised if the sister actually thought that she would get away with calling the wife a witch and thought, this is it? They get divorced, and now he can take care of us. Where does your sister get her absurd sense of entitlement? It almost sounds like you two came from different sets of parents. I've no doubt this was 100% her thought process. I agree with your wife. 29 days is now my new favorite burn. Your wife is a gem. And, by the way, your sister isn't sorry. She's just trying to save her butt. If you let her stay, the same scenario will continue soon.